those like 2 seconds where you don't know if you're live or not. So I put this thumbnail up, and here we go. We're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to StreamYard Tech Talk, where we take a deep dive into live streaming technologies. We learn from the expert. I'm not going to read this anymore. I've got today with me a very special guest, Nick Nimmin from nicknimmin.com. Get your questions ready because we're going to be talking about using multiple cameras, 2 ATEMs, studio setup, really cool lighting effects, and all your questions. So get your questions set up and we will get going. Hi, Nick. Welcome to Tech Talk and StreamYard.
Hey, Daniel, thank you for having me on. Super pumped to be here on the StreamYard channel. I live streamed here just a little bit ago, so super pumped to be back here again. Of course, hanging out with the StreamYard team for sure. How are things with you?
Doing good. I'm here at my home office as usual, and right outside of Boston. And I know you're calling from an interesting destination, which is
Thailand, the land of smiles. Yep. So the world right now needs a bunch of smiles. So I'm in a good place. I'm in a lucky place for for trying to be uplifted in the moment instead of being all bummed out about the current situation and whatnot. But super excited today to talk about the live streaming tech and talk about all the not really required stuff, but just the leveling things up just a little bit when it comes to using StreamYard with some of this fun hardware that we have at our disposal these days.
Great. So a couple of quick intros here. So first of all, for those of you who don't know Nick Nimmin, check out nicknimmin.com. His YouTube channel has well over 700,000 viewers. He is quite an expert on YouTube videos, live streaming, a bunch of other stuff. Really cool. And we've been doing a bunch of stuff together with StreamYard for a while. As you can see, matching hoodies. And speaking of hoodies and merch, if you want to get some merch, we've got some for you today. So just use the hashtag #LoveStreamYard to enter to get a mug. Nick will actually pick somebody at random later on from the comments, or maybe we'll pick somebody in jointly. And if you want to ask a question, make sure to use the hashtag #ask so we don't miss you in the comments, because sometimes we get all of these side conversations, and it's hard to know if it's a question for us or for somebody else. So just use the hashtag #ask. You don't have to, but that will help. Great. And we have, let's see, I'll post that again a bit later. Let me show you the mug that we're handing out today. Not that one. We want this one. Here we go. Nick himself demonstrating our cool coffee mug. It is nicely oversized there. Yeah, there we go. Let's show it in real life, actually. Well, we don't need this. Here we go.
This beautiful white mug with the StreamYard logo on it can be yours, all for the simple price of just dropping a hashtag with the answer in there after the stream or during the stream.
I see people are already posting the hashtag. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. We've got a bunch of people with us today. Just going to go quickly through a bunch of these. Thank you, Chad. Chad's always got an amazing sense of humor. Or is it really a sense of humor? You never know. Okay. Yannick is saying my sound isn't good. Are you hearing my sound well, Nick? Is it or is it just
yeah, you're coming through okay. It's just a tad low for me. But it's okay. I can hear you clearly and all of that. They're hearing it, the balanced version between, you and I both. So, yeah, it sounds okay on my end. I can hear you clearly.
Okay, that's good. I will adjust it quickly here on my back end as well, try to boost it a bit. So let me do that live, actually, just because we're talking tech here. So I'm gonna show how I do this. Right here, actually, application window. Just share my ATEM Mini little control here. And what happens is my mic is oftentimes, I move it around a bit, right? So I move my mic here we go. I move it like a bit farther away or closer, and that changes my setup. So if I go to my, here we go, show the screen here. I can just adjust here. I got a little bit of a gate and some filtering here to get rid of the sound of my fans. But I can just increase my audio boost right there, my gain, and there we go. So now it will be a bit louder and we're good to go. So remove that. That's it. Okay, but the focus is on you today. So let me show. So why don't we show, the first question I always ask is, what is in your studio, Nick? So maybe we take a quick look at your tech, even though we're not going to be talking just tech, just hardware today. We'll be talking about other stuff as well. But I always like to see, what have you got there? So why don't you show us, what have you got around you?
So for the wide view here, what we're looking at is we are looking at, for the lighting, I'm using an Aperture Tri-8 over on this side. This is another Aperture LED panel over here that you can just see a little bit of the light coming from it, but this is another Aperture LED panel as well. It's got a bunch of model numbers, which are exactly HR672C for the model numbers themselves. But basically, that's what I'm using for the lighting in this situation. I also have a Godox hair light or backlight, whichever way you prefer to call it. But I have that over here a little bit off of scene as well. Basically, what you're looking at in terms of what's on the desk, I've got another shot that I'll show you here in a second. But for this view, what you're looking at here, this is the actual camera that I'm streaming this on right now. As you can see when I've got my finger in here. And this is a Sony a6500. The camera that you're actually seeing this on right now is also another Sony a6500. And this one right here that I'm going to be switching to in just a second, this is a Sony 5100. All of these are fantastic. The battery, I can actually plug in for both of these. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten a plug-in for that one yet. So I still have to order a plug-in for the wide shot, but I have it kind of jerry-rigged a little bit right now in order to keep it open for a longer period of time. But I also have, in this situation, I've got a Free World 4K monitor sitting right here as well underneath this camera for the sake of just having a quick view of myself, which you'll be able to see right here. So when I switch it back here, you're going to see that this is the monitor that I was talking about, and the camera is sitting right on top of this. And then I also have the ATEM Mini Pro ISO. And the reason that I have this particular one, I actually got the ATEM Mini first, which is over here. And I ended up upgrading after I fell in love with the ATEM Mini, because on my live streams that I do every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, shameless plug, we also have clips that we do. So I have a clips channel that I have attached to that. So because of that, I'm trying to get in the habit, even though I'm not that fantastic of it, but I'm trying to get in the habit of recording during the live streams. And I record to this SSD drive from SanDisk, and basically the live stream will be all compiled on here so that I can get higher quality. And the really cool thing about the ATEM Mini Pro is that when I'm recording this, it's actually recording all of the inputs. So every single camera, if I were to hit record on this, every single camera would be recording into this at the same time, as well as what is seen on this laptop over here as well. So that's why I upgraded to this, so that it would basically just give us more to work with, so that we can make the clips just a little bit cooler. And in addition to that, over on this side, this right here is a Stream Deck, which as live streamers, I'm sure that a lot of you are already familiar with this. This is where I trigger the lights that are in the background of my scene. This is also where I go into for the sound effects and things like that I run during the stream. So for this particular, desk information, that's what's here. Plus I have this Tascam audio recorder as well, so that when I'm recording for the live streams, it actually ends up coming into here, being recorded into the Rodecaster, and then it also gets recorded through this microphone into the ATEM Mini Pro, which then goes to the SSD drive so that we can have raw audio to work with instead of using pre-processed audio. Now, keep in mind, this whole thing right here is definitely still new tech for me. So I'm kind of working out the bugs and trying to fine tune everything still, but super happy with the setup so far. Now, what you see from this shot in the background is the Rode Procaster, which again, if you're a streamer or if you're into podcasting, anything like that, I'm sure you've heard of these. But basically, this has sound pads on it where I can also trigger sounds. And this was actually my main soundboard in my old streaming setup. And, I changed to the Stream Deck just for the sake of, having everything here in front of me. But the exciting part is I'm actually getting ready to build a new studio as well. So, all this stuff is going to be getting moved, and it's going to change a little bit, but the idea is going to be the same, and I'm still going to be using mostly the same hardware. It's just things are going to end up, looking a little bit different. So in terms of the setup, that's the setup. And one more thing as well is I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but from this shot, another thing that's really important when you're live streaming is being able to monitor yourself. So basically, I have the monitor here that's monitoring, for this direct shot. I have a screen over here to where I see, the StreamYard chat, and I see what's actually happening on the StreamYard scene right here. So on my Saturday stream, sometimes I'll bring in guests. And when I bring in guests, when they pop up here, that's how I actually notice, hey, there's somebody actually waiting to come in, and then I invite them in from there. And then over on this side here, this is a MacBook Pro, and I use this one to basically dig into my YouTube backend so that when super chats come in, memberships come in, or, the actual YouTube chat itself, anything like that, then I can actually pull all of that information from right here on this screen as well. So it keeps everything separated. Everything is within my field of view, so that, as I'm looking here and I'm communicating to the, to the audience, then I can still see these things, out of the corner of my eye, and I don't have to keep turning around and coming back over to this in order to, do anything with my live stream. So it just makes it, easier to manage, because, I'll stream sometimes for, 3 hours, 4 hours. So because of that, I need to have all this stuff within reach, so that I can, run everything as smooth as possible. It doesn't always go as smooth as I'd hope in terms of trying to, manage some of this stuff, but it definitely helps. And another thing that's really cool about the ATEM Mini and the ATEM Mini Pro is that with the software that you saw Daniel in there adjusting his audio, that same software, you can actually set up macros. So what that means is you can do pre-recorded sequences so that you can tell it, for this camera, switch it to this camera for 5 seconds, switch it to this other camera for 3 seconds, switch it to another one for 10 seconds, and then back to this one. But you can build out a full automation sequence and you can loop it. So while you're streaming, you can just do your thing, and then it's automatically switching between cameras based on whatever it is that you've pre-recorded, which is really awesome if you're like a one-person show.
Wow, you just blazed through an entire, a 3-day seminar in 10 minutes. And I think it's it's insane. So first of all, I'd like to just reassure everybody here that if you're new to StreamYard, you don't have to have any of this stuff. This show is for all the geeks and the techies, for those who want to go like an extra mile, and for those who are like pro streamers and producer types. If you're new to StreamYard, you don't need anything but your computer to go live, right?
The reason, just to put into context, like the reason that I do all this stuff is because the type of content that I make, basically my YouTube channel, I help YouTube content creators understand the platform. So because of that, I have a lot of content creators that are watching me, and because of that, there's a lot of people that are into the tech. They have a certain expectation, on the platform in terms of quality and things like that. So because of that, I try as hard as I possibly can to match their expectations within reason, of course. Now, my brother D, he actually built us an entire live streaming studio, but since he's stuck in Mexico right now, we can't take you on a tour of that. But once he finally gets back to Thailand, then we'll be able to take you on a tour of the full live streaming studio that we have as well, with a bunch of more, additional tech in there also.
Awesome. Okay, so quick shout out to Rob Zip, who today, believe it or not, is getting a StreamYard tattoo live on video. Yes, no, this is true. Rob, if you want to put the link to your live stream to the in the comments, that I'm sure a bunch of us would love seeing it. I know I'm gonna be watching that for sure. That's gonna go through the roof. So shout out to Rob there. And talk about fans. That's insane in a very good way.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we've got a couple of questions here. So first of all, Tristan, I think this question is actually really good because you got so much equipment here, right? But like, which is the one thing that really is most critical for your operations here? What's the one tool that you would?
So for me, and this is going to sound like it was set up for me to answer this question, but I swear it was not set up this way. But for me, it's StreamYard, and the reason that it's StreamYard is because I need it to work. Right. So basically, since I've been live streaming, because I've been live streaming for years now, and I've used like tons of different stuff, and a lot of it's really great. However, like it updates, and you have to, it's like with a lot of the updates that happen, you have to, update drivers, and you have to rebuild scenes and all this stuff. And it becomes such a headache over time that as soon as I discovered StreamYard, I'm like, oh, this is it. I'm going to be using this from now on because it's just easy to use. Basically, you plug into it and then you're good to go. So even though that sounded like it was planned, I swear that it was not. But that's the first piece. But past that would be, it would of course be, a decent camera and audio, because that's what you need to actually make the whole thing go. For a really long time, I streamed on a Logitech C920. It was great, because with the Logitech C920, which is a webcam, you can get them for less than $100. But with that, the really cool thing about it, just like a lot of the webcams these days, is you can actually download settings for it, and you can go in, you can adjust, your contrast and your saturation, your brightness, so you can really fine tune what it actually looks like. And even with the C922, when you set up your environment properly, even for not having to spend, a bunch of money on all this stuff, because it's really not needed in reality for, in most cases. So because of that, you can really go far with a Logitech C922, because it does allow you to make those adjustments. Same thing with the Brio as well. And I think they have like a C930 that a lot of people are, that are pretty happy with as well. But like you don't have to have all this stuff in order to, have an awesome live stream. Like the thing that really makes an awesome live stream is that you just bring tons of value to the people that are watching. And then from there, what it looks like is a bonus, because, if somebody starts your live stream and they've never, been involved with you before, they've never seen any of your content before, when they click on it, you want to grab their attention. You want them to be impressed by it, so that they'll at least hang out for just a little bit to see, what's this person talking about? What is it that, that this whole live stream is about, to where it can build up a little bit of interest, compared to, somebody sitting in like a dark room with, hardly any light on them, and, low quality camera and bad audio and all of that. So, when you upgrade just a little bit in terms of your camera and, let's say, like your audio equipment, then, it can make a really big difference on that perception of your live stream.
Okay, great. So I think we got a ton of questions and discussions here in the chat. And I want to break down a bit of what you described here. And for those of you who are newbies, I know some of you are asking a lot of questions in our tool. We'll also get into some topics that are around lighting, etc. So hang in there. This section right now might be a bit over the top for you, and it might be for those of us who are uber geeks, and especially ATEM lovers. So first of all, you pronounce it ATEM, ATEM, ATEM?
I don't know. All of these. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know what the right version is. I just say ATEM just because it's capitalized. So I don't know if that's supposed to be letters. Or, yeah, I have no idea. I don't know what's the right way. What is it? Do you know?
I have no clue. But I do know that you have two of them, and that is something like uber geeky. So I really want to get into that a bit. So first of all, why do you have two? And second, how do you use them? And third, how do you bring all of these inputs into StreamYard? Somebody was asking that. So it all ties together.
So how I use both of these is I got the one first. I got just the mini. And after I got the mini, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I'm going to make sure that, I make this like a regular part of my kit. And then I found out about the ISO and how it actually lets you record to it. So since it lets you record to it, I'm like, hey, I can use that for my clips and, any training content that I make or anything like that. I can make everything easier on myself if I upgrade to this. So how I'm currently using this is because I'm recording, and I don't know if this is correct or not, but because of I'm recording when I am live streaming, I need the USB-C port that's in the back of this for this drive. And even though I'll plug this into my router, it still doesn't seem to work as a standalone unless I have a setting wrong. So because of that, and so that I can expand if I want to in the future, what I have is I have the HDMI output going from this into the ATEM Mini. So what I can do in that situation is I have this entire thing that I can fill out if I want with, different cameras and a computer, but the output will go into here, which leaves me 3 additional spots that I could also switch to if I wanted to in the future. So if I want to, keep expanding with more cameras, which I'm going to do, once I move, like I was talking about before, then it just gives me more options that I can switch to down the road in order to make everything just a little bit more dynamic. Now, unfortunately, with anything else that happens inside of this one, I won't be able, inside of the ATEM Mini, I'm not going to be able to actually record that one while I'm live. So I'll have to be really strategic about exactly what it is that I use here. So, we'll see how that ends up panning out once I actually put that into practice. But for now, that's kind of the, it's kind of the logic behind, why I'm running the two. Like the ATEM Mini is plugging directly into my computer via USB. And since the signal's coming out of the ISO and into that, then it's basically just helping the flow get into the computer, essentially. And then inside of the computer is where I connect it to StreamYard as a camera source. And then with the audio, the Rodecaster is what I select as the audio source, and that is what allows this to feed through. And then the microphone up here at the top, this particular one, when I'm recording through the ATEM Mini Pro, this signal is actually going into the camera, and then it's being recorded into the Pro ISO through the camera itself, not running it through the system, not running it all the way into the live stream itself. So it kind of separates everything.
Right, and I wanted to point out here just that if you look here at the setup, the camera is actually above a tiny little monitor. So, oh, you're perfect. You're showing it beautifully yourself. And unlike people like most people do it like me, where we have the camera set up above this monitor here, right? And that brings the camera in a little bit of angle. You solve this issue where you simply put the camera lowered, like right at eye height, with a little tiny monitor, so you're looking right into the lens, which is beautiful. I love it. So, when I first saw that, I was like, "Oh, that's so smart." So it's yet another monitor, but it solves all these issues.
Yeah, and with that too, it also, like when you're live streaming, maybe you get it, you move around a little bit, or you get excited, or maybe you're a little bit animated when you communicate or something, and having that monitor right there in front of you where you can just glance down, it just gives you the chance to just quickly just do a quick check. Am I centered? Am I in frame? Is everything kind of looking, is it looking okay? And when I'm actually live streaming, I also have like a meter going back here of the audio feeding through, and I also have like my stream stats here. And one of the cool things is it actually allows me to be able to glance into the monitor and see this in the background and make sure that the audio is still coming through the microphone up top, and to make sure that, that I can see what's happening with the stream itself as well. So it kind of works as like a double tool in that particular situation. But the camera itself, I'm not even using a tripod for the camera. I'm using an Elgato stand. And basically with the Elgato stands, one of the things that's cool is it's kind of like a mic stand, sort of. So basically the base of it is just a weighted base. It's a circular base around this big, and then it's just a pole that comes up. And because of the position of things, because I have a sofa over here, so it has like these extensions that you can get for it, and then that extension is just kind of tilted over, and then the camera is actually connected to that. So it takes up less floor space, so it doesn't take up as much space in the room. Whereas the one that's further away, that's on an actual tripod, and that ends up taking up this whole area over here, to where eventually I'll end up changing the stand for that one as well. But one thing that I'm a really big fan of, which White Noise Studio mentioned, was he was talking about the cleanliness of the desk. I try when possible to keep everything as clean and tidy as I can, and changing the stand, as silly as it sounds, for me and my brain, it makes it seem like, hey, I've got more space and everything's just like a little bit more fine tuned. I still need to work on my cable management a bit on the back end. But, outside of that, the actual floor space that's being taken up by all the gear in the room is being minimized quite a bit by using the stand over there.
Awesome. Yeah. And this, so that this, I see it, a lot of comments about the Elgato stand and the desk. This is really cool. It definitely is. It definitely is a huge psychological influence when you have a clean desk. I mean, I've been cleaning up my desk all the time, and it just makes it so easy to focus. It's amazing how much of a difference it makes. Yeah, I'm getting lost here with all these comments. So just a reminder to use the hashtag ask so it's easier to find them. And a big applaud to, actually, let's give you an applaud, cheer. Yeah, big cheer to Nick for being able to manage all these devices live at the same time, and comments and multiple cameras, and remembering which device and which microphone and which camera and which button you can and cannot use it at any moment. It is difficult. It is really difficult to do that. So it takes a lot of talent, and really big applaud to you there.
Yeah, and just practice. I would say it's more practice than talent. Like I've been live streaming for years, so because of that, like when I'm live streaming, all the things that are coming out of my brain during a live stream, and because I talk about the same thing all the time, so because of that, it can get pretty repetitive, at one point, unless like something new and fresh comes in terms of a question. But a lot of it can get pretty repetitive. So because of that, like my brain can go on autopilot a little bit, and I'm talking about the stuff that I'm talking about on the stream, and then it's weird how live stream brains work. But it's like you're talking about the thing, but then you have like this other part in your brain somewhere that is at the same time like, okay, do we need to switch cameras? If we're going to switch a camera, which camera do we switch to? Let's do a quick glance at the chat, see what's going on there. But you have like a management side of the brain, and then you have like or not side of the brain, but like a part of the brain, it seems. But you have that going on, and then you have the part where you're actually communicating as well. It's really interesting, what live streaming does in terms of how you have to focus on a bunch of different things at once.
Yeah, we had a bunch of questions here about the brand of the monitor. So if you can mention that, maybe you mentioned it before.
Yeah, this is a Samsung Odyssey G9. I think is the model number for this. It's relatively new to my setup, to be honest with you. From a productivity standpoint, it's awesome. I absolutely love it, but I think it's a bit much for the particular scene. I think it would look a lot cleaner if I went back to just a normal, just a bigger monitor, but something a little bit more normal. Because I used to have the one that's over here. This one right here is the one that I used to use as my main monitor. And then I upgraded to this, and it's great for productivity. I absolutely love the monitor. But for the actual scene itself and what the scene looks like, I'm not 100% sold on it yet.
Yeah, and I'll just flex here a bit on my monitor, which is a Neo LG. I just got it, and it just goes up and down and moves in and out, and it's really nice. You can even do this if you wanted to.
Oh, nice.
Like make it vertical. And one of the reasons it's really great is because when I got this, I don't use bifocals, but I should. And so when I'm live streaming, I want the monitor to be as far as possible, so my eyes focus closer to the camera, and it's not, and the monitor doesn't get in the way in the view field of the camera. But nice. When I'm working, I sometimes want the monitor closer, and so that when you get to a certain age, these things make a big difference. So yeah, there's that too, and those are not too expensive. I got it. I think it was $550. Quality is excellent, and the stand is fantastic. So cleans up the desk. It's great. Okay, we had a bunch of questions here. I want to make sure we get to them. Let's see. Oh, Tristan is asking. I think this is a great question. As usual, Tristan has good questions. The one piece of advice in streaming you never took but wish you had.
The one that I never took but wish that I had. That's a great question. I don't think, like, since I've been streaming, I don't think that anybody has ever like given me stream advice in terms of like how to stream or anything like that. I've watched tons of videos to like figure out the tech and things like that. And my brother is much more tech minded than I am, so he's also been extremely helpful when it comes to some of the tech and cameras and all that stuff. So in terms of streaming advice that I wish that I took. Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. It's a great question. Absolutely love it. But off the top of my head, I can't think of anything right here in the moment.
That's fine. That's great. Okay. I've had a couple of questions here, maybe both of them by Solar. So talking about streaming live on TV channel. Do you know anything about that?
Live on a TV channel?
Yeah.
No, I've never broadcast live to TV.
Yeah,
I mean, like as long as they are able to pipe the signal in from, the different guests and things like that, which StreamYard can help you with, as long as you're able to get the, the people in there. And as long as you have, an out from the stream to, whatever main, deck that they would have in the TV studio to where they would be, controlling everything, then that should be all that you need. So, like if you have techs in your actual TV studio, they can probably workshop that one really fast.
Yeah, I guess StreamYard pushes a custom RTMP. So if they accept RTMP, then you're good to go. It's easy. But who knows what tech they use there. I've got a really geeky question here from Neil, and I think I know the answer to it, but let's see if I got this right. So if you're looking at the small monitor, I'm thinking of a different question. Okay. Oh, so this is just if you're looking at a small monitor, right, and you have to turn to see the comments. I'm thinking of this as well, right? So the comments are on a separate screen. So, or are you seeing them on a small monitor and switching? What are you looking at exactly, the small monitor there, and how you manage
the small monitor is me only, and then within 2 inches from the small monitor is where my laptop screen starts, and then because it's on a MacBook, I use an extension called. I wonder if it actually shows the name of it. Okay, yeah, it doesn't show the name of the extension, but basically it allows me to divide up the windows. So what I do is I'll slam the chat into the far left third. And then what happens is I have the screen, right underneath here. And with the same effort that I would use to actually look at this screen, I can just glance right here, and then I see the live chat. So, in terms of the chat, it's really close to this monitor. So I don't even need the chat on the monitor. It would actually be more energy to keep in mind what's showing on the monitor and having to switch what's on the monitor than just looking over here to the actual laptop itself.
Nice. Okay. Carrie was asking, I love this question, right? Can you take StreamYard, take it through the ATEM and back into StreamYard? Wow, this is meta. And this is the geeky question I was thinking about.
Well, technically, you would have to do the whole interface, I believe. But if you took the entire interface itself, kind of like you were screen sharing, then in that situation, yeah, you can absolutely do that. Like if I were to go into StreamYard right now, which I'll do just so we can demo this for you really quick. If I were to go into StreamYard, let's see if it'll actually let me do it in my little testing center that I have. Yeah, so if I switch to this, then this is what my Mac screen looks like. And you can see right here, I can see, some of the chat over here from that as well. And then if I go into the broadcast studio, and again, this is a test stream, but basically you can see that I'm able to pull, and this is from the laptop webcam, but you can see that I'm able to pull directly from here from the interface and push it out. Now, one of the things that I could also do is I could go full screen. And then this would also give me, that additional ability there to have, another, camera running, directly through this if I wanted to, or something along those lines. So technically, yeah. So we just did it, right? We just ran it through and then, back out. So yeah, so that's, essentially what it would be like. But of course, if I was streaming, because I'm connected to, to Daniel's stream right now. But if this was my stream, then it would actually be on this monitor as well, or on this laptop as well. So because of that, I would actually be able to get the high quality camera and the ATEM mini and all that stuff directly into there, and then just route it back through. So yeah, absolutely. And we just did it. we did it, figured it out right here live on StreamYard.
That was absolutely awesome. Leo is asking about audio feedback because you're not wearing headphones. So that I want to know how you did.
So basically what I do is I have the noise reduction kind of cranked up here on the microphone here. If you notice, the Shure SM7B, like with these mics, they basically are just picking up, what's going on here. Like if I turn it away, then you hear how quickly, the signal drops. So of course the Rodecaster might be boosting it even a little bit in that situation. But basically what's happening is I have the audio turned down on the Rodecaster, and my speakers are, kind of shooting the audio out this way. That one's shooting it more this way, but it's far away. But the filtering that I have going on in the Rodecaster keeps it all from echoing back through. And since all of the audio is from this mic is feeding into that, the audio from the computer's feeding into that, the Rodecaster also has something called a mix minus. And what that is it's to where it basically like cancels out the incoming audio, and it only pushes through the audio that's actually plugged into the device itself. So that keeps some of that audio from, or actually all that audio from feeding back through as well. Now, if I turn that feature off inside there, because it's just a setting, if I turn that off, then sometimes if somebody's really loud, like a guest or something comes on and they're really loud, then sometimes there'll be a little bit of an echo, and then I might have to go and turn it off in that situation. But I'll typically turn it off during a normal stream just because I need to, in order for the sounds from the Stream Deck to actually go through the Rodecaster and then go out into the stream.
Wow. Awesome. Okay, great. Yeah. And by the way, a lot of people here have been asking about features and StreamYard features. We do have a town hall meeting every Sunday night with the two founders of StreamYard, Dan and Gage, and they talk about features, upcoming features, feature requests, all that kind of stuff. Really cool. Gets a ton of views. I love the format as well. And I'll just mention here some, because you're talking about audio. So here we don't talk about upcoming features generally and those kind of questions. But because you mentioned audio and feedback loops and all of that, there is a big audio upgrade coming in, I'd say in a week or two, which I think everybody's going to be excited about. We don't typically say exactly what's coming when, because, the minute you say that, you're going to disappoint. Right, because it's never exactly on time. So I'm not going to say exactly what that is, but it's coming very soon, and it's something a lot of people have been asking for. Let's see, we've got more questions here. There was a follow-up question. Okay, from Neil. Okay, if you're adding banners, overlays, and you're looking over to StreamYard, so he's saying you're looking over to the right. I guess he's talking about the two monitors here set up. So back to that question a bit. Then we'll move on to a different topic.
Yeah, so what I'll typically do is I'll have StreamYard open as one of the tabs here, as well as my YouTube backend, so I can check for like super chats and stuff like that, because I'll miss them sometimes in a stream. But I'll have StreamYard in one tab here, and I'll also have StreamYard in a tab in this one as well. And because of that, like I'm like when I'm live streaming and when it's my stream, I'm like a lot more animated, and I can be like a little bit over the top sometimes in terms of like the energy. And because of that, like I'm literally like all over the place during my live streams. I'm like a wet noodle flying in the wind. And because of that, it's kind of like natural for me to just be kind of looking all over the place anyway, in between, looking at the camera. So basically when I have StreamYard up here, if I know that I'm going to be adding, a graphic or something like that, then I'll just click on it, while I'm sitting here talking to the screen, and then I'll just glance over real quick, and then I'll keep talking to the screen like I'm doing right now. I'll click into banners, and then I'll click into branding actually, and then I'll go down and click on whichever one it is that I want to, actually show up on the screen.
Yeah. Chad is asking technical question. If you and D are in the same room, how do you avoid power surges on all nearby tech? I guess that's a great question.
Yeah, so basically our studio setup, we basically have everything running. It's different than here, and we'll actually upgrade some of the stuff when he comes back. But basically, our setup there, it's actually relatively simple. So we have 3 cameras that we use over there. We have 2 Canon XF100s. Those are pretty much like dedicated video cameras, but we use them for streaming. And then we have a Canon 70D that we use as kind of like our wide shot. And then the audio is just ran through one mixer, and then D is there on the computer controlling everything. So because of that, the actual load on the computers, there's actually not as much, stuff going on as there is right here actually, because I'm just doing my thing and he's controlling everything. So because of that, like I'm not dealing with any tech outside of just having a laptop in front of me. So, it kind of reduces, the tons of, gear being all over the place.
Yeah. It's quite overwhelming. I mean, even just me doing this show, it's not easy. It really isn't. And I put up a smile, but it's tough, and so a big shout out to all of us handling all of this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think with that, like one of the cool things about streaming is that, when somebody's watching a live stream, like they understand, So, like, of course you want to do as good as you possibly can, but, if you miss clicking the right button and you're like, oh, wait, I clicked the wrong thing 1 second, people are pretty tolerant of that sort of thing. So, of course you want to try to make it as good as you can. However, because it is live, there is a certain tolerance built into live streaming, which is awesome because it allows you to make mistakes. It allows you to mess up what you say and then kind of backtrack and say it all again. Just kind of gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of the expectations that people have when they're watching a live stream compared to when somebody's watching a video, for example.
Quick, a little transition here to a different topic. So, yeah, is there a way to get the premium version of StreamYard without paying? Yeah, get somebody else to pay for it.
There you go. Yep,
Yeah.
solving problems left and right in here. Woo!
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about lighting. I want to talk about lighting because you've got this really cool setup here where essentially you've got the dark background and the well lit face, and a lot of people are interested in creating that kind of atmosphere or that kind of setup. And it's not intuitive because you put up all these lights, it just lights up the whole room, like in my case, right? So how do you do that? How do you set it all up?
So when it comes to the lighting itself, if you look at the actual lights, first off, they're small lights. So people will they'll get these big, humongous soft boxes. And when you have these huge soft boxes, they're going to spill light all over the room. But with these, they're smaller so that I can control the light easier. But with these lights, if you look at these, neither of them are actually pointed directly at me. They're pointed kind of at each other. So this one has a little bit of a tilt to it, but the actual, main source of the light is heading over this way. So because of that, it keeps it keeps all of that spill from going onto the background. Now there's some, there's a little bit, but for the most part, just having these faced more towards each other to where I'm actually picking up the ambient light from the two lights instead of making sure that the lights are just blasting me, because if they're both pointed at me, then it would overflow into the background. Now, another thing that's helpful with that is the camera. So with the camera itself, I can also, this is a Sigma 16 millimeter lens. That's what's on all of these cameras. And since it's a 16 millimeter lens, it's also but it's also a 1.4 aperture on it. So because of that, it's a really low light lens. So since it's a low light lens, then I can turn the lights down a little bit and then it still picks up a lot of light as well. So I don't have to turn the lights up as high. I keep them to where they're not directly pointing at me so that I'm picking up the ambient light from them. And that makes it, a lot easier in that situation to control the light. Now, other things, because these are the aperture lights, I also have, remote controls with them. So you can see here, like if I shut these off, then I have just the hair light that's coming in from this side over here. And you can see how it's just giving me like a little bit of kind of like a, crisping between the chair and the background. And what that does is that kind of helps separate me from what's happening in the background. And then as I turn these on, then you can see that, that everything starts to get brighter and all of that, but it's still, it still doesn't flow over, into the background itself. Now, another thing that's helpful for that is you can see that I have the blue lights back there. One of the reasons for that is because it helps me stand out, just with my skin tones. It just helps me, pop a little bit from the scene. 2, I love the color blue. 3, with these, if you actually turn these off, then you'll see in this situation how everything gets, it's just kind of drab, in comparison. So then when I start, adding these lights here in the background, then you can see it kind of brings everything to life a little bit, with the different scene back there. I also have this that I'll use sometimes as well. It's a aperture MC light. And the really cool thing with these is when you turn it on, you can change like all the different colors and you can change the intensity. Hold on, let me turn the saturation up, but you can see right here, as I change the hue, you can see the actual color of the light changing. So like with this, in some cases, I might take this to like a blue also. And, depending on what's going on, like if I'm recording a video, for example, and I want to just kind of highlight something else, then, I can put that off scene a little bit and then have, a little bit more accent light, coming from there, even though it's just a little bit out of frame. So, I'll use this from time to time to, highlight like a little area or something, if something's like a little bit too dark or something like that as well, just depending on, what it is that I'm recording or streaming at that time.
Wow. So that last light was just battery operated, or it's plug-in as well, right?
Yeah, so these things are awesome. So basically, one, it has the softener that comes with it, which is cool, but it's super small. So my brother D, what he uses is he uses one roll-up LED light because he's stuck in Mexico right now, so he can't use his normal kit because he just doesn't have it with him. So he had to improvise since he's jumping from like place to place down there. He basically got, I think, 2 or 3 of these, and he uses them for backlights and for a fill light. And then he has one roll-up LED light that he uses as his main light. So it's an awesome travel kit. But because these are so small, it makes them really easy to use. But basically, it's a built-in battery, and you can charge it. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, but you can charge it via USB-C right there. And another really cool thing about these is if you look at the very top of it, on the very bottom and the very top, you're going to see magnets. So a really cool thing about this as well is, for example, the legs of this desk are magnetic. Tripods are magnetic. This microphone stand is magnetic, or not magnetic, but it's metal, so it can connect to it. So what I can do with this is you'll hear it maybe. I'll make sure you hear it. And then right there, I just stick it to the, to the desk table or to the desk legs. And then, that if I wanted to, then that light could be shooting off over to here to light up this darker area if I wanted to, or, anything else that I wanted to stick it to for that matter.
Okay. A few questions here about lighting. So Marissa was asking about the white desk reflecting light. Was that intentional? Did you notice that actually helps with basically with my standing desk over here, which you can't currently see, but with the standing desk over here, that's all dark because I prefer, that look. This right here is all not made. I mean, I bought it, but it's basically, it's white so that the light will bounce off from this as well. So when I get into the new version, hey, Daniel Patel in the house. What's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. So when I move into the new place, I'm not sure if I'm going to use a white desk. But what I did in that situation is I painted all of the walls are black. And since they're all black, then that also allows me to control the light a little bit more. So I might not need to do this, but I might need to get an extra light. Maybe I'll do it with these. If I got, one more of these, and I could have, something a little bit lower to make sure that I'm lit up enough down here if it's even required. But one of the cool things about having that white desk is, like you mentioned, it's reflective. So the light does absolutely bounce off of it. Awesome. Yeah. Great. There was a question here, a couple of questions actually. I'm just trying to find them so I can show it, but and give credit to the person who asked the question. But now I lost it. It was about glare on your glasses. So I know you explained this, but let's just answer specifically the question: how to remove the glare from the glasses.
So the glare from the glasses comes from, the light being in front of you. So if you have the lights up higher, like if I move around, you'll see them. Right. So you can see it, right there. You can see the other one kind of popping up over there as well. And depending, sometimes like if this monitor's on, sometimes you'll catch that monitor in my glasses. But for the most part, though, you don't catch tons of glare in the glasses because the lights are elevated higher. So if I switch to this scene again, you'll see like my head is down here, but the light is way up here. And then this light is also, just a little bit above eye level. So because of that, the lights are actually higher than I'm sitting. And again, since I'm catching the ambient light off of these lights, it allows me to move those higher so that I don't get that reflection in my glasses. Now, if I had a ring light right here, then I would have that reflection in my glasses. Or if these lights were both lower and pointed towards me, then you would also see that glare as well. So by having them up just a little bit higher, it allows me to wear my glasses and not have them, get in the way, so to speak. Now, with that, if you look at like newsrooms and things like that, another thing that can be beneficial, if you have the space for it, is that you actually put the lights up further away. So they're high and they're farther away, but then you just turn the lights up, quite a bit so that, you're still getting lit enough, but the lights are so far away that if you do happen to catch that glare, the reflection of that glare is so small that it's almost unnoticeable.
Great. Okay, good. We've got, and Julie is asking about the brand of lights, or what specific type of light are you using in the background, those blue lights?
These are Philip Hue lights. So basically through the Philip Hue lights, I'm able to connect them to the bridge, and then I can turn them on and off with my, I'm not going to say her name, but you know who I'm talking about. So I can turn them on and off with her, or I can use an app to control them as well. But one of the things that's really cool about these, and I'll show you a quick demo here, is that from time to time, I will make content for other people or stream for other people. For example, my StreamYard streams, right? So when I'm doing those, one of the cool things is I can take this and I can say, okay, my hoodie is about that color. So let me change that light here. Let me change this one over to here as well. And then let me go here and change this one over. And then I can change the lights to kind of better match, you know, in this situation to where, you know, it's representing StreamYard a little bit in comparison to, you know, just having my typical blue lights back there. So the really cool thing about these is that you can do that. And in addition to that, why is that filler light not... Oh, it changed. Okay, there we go. So in addition to that...
Why don't we just ask Alexa?
Oh, you did it. Oh, no, you said it. Oh, no. But in addition to that, the cool thing about these lights is if you do use a Stream Deck for anything with your live stream, or even if you use it for like quick things on your computer or whatever, then, you know, I could also just use this to turn the lights on and off as well. Technically, you'd be able to do that. Hue actually makes light switches and things like that, so you could do something similar. But in my particular case, I have all of that running through here, so I can just turn them on and off right here at the click of a button. I've also got like my sofa that I can turn on as well, and then another light that I'm not really using at the time. So
cool. Okay, we've got a bunch of questions here. Okay, Martin is asking about switching cameras. We've already talked about that, but he's asking about Zoom, integrating Zoom into StreamYard. That's a pretty straightforward one. Have you ever done that kind of thing?
I haven't personally tried integrating the two. I haven't had the need to. For me, like my live streams aren't something to where, you know, like I'm doing that sort of thing where I would need that. For me, with the 10 guest limit inside of StreamYard, like that's all that I'll ever need that I can think of at this point in time for a live stream. So because of that, like I don't have any reason to use Zoom. So I haven't went through the process of trying to figure that out personally.
Right. So I'll just answer that question because it's pretty straightforward. It's you know, basically you share a screen and choose application window instead of screen, and just choose the Zoom application window. And you can do this for anything. You can do this for Skype, for Zoom, for whatever. And yeah, a bunch of people do it because you know, Zoom. A lot of you can bring guests right into StreamYard, but some people prefer Zoom for different reasons to interview the guests. I used to do it because then Zoom, I used to record in Zoom and do a StreamYard. Eventually I just started using StreamYard 100% of the time, and that's it. And I found it was just as good. So I don't know why. I can't even remember why I was insisting on doing that mess in the first place. Okay, yeah, I think bring it back to basics here a bit in the last few minutes. I think we talked a lot about the geeky stuff and all of the really cool and fancy things that cost money. But Tristan, as usual, with the great questions. Like when you're just getting started, when you got started, what were the first couple of things you did, and your first setup? What did it look like?
My very first live stream setup, my very first live stream was actually for a thumbnail tutorial. And I was streaming at that time so that I could learn the process of live streaming so that I could also make a video about that on my channel. And for my very first live stream, I actually used a DSLR and like a boom mic like this. So my very first live stream was also pretty, you know, it was a pretty high quality live stream in that situation. But then I went back to the Logitech for, you know, like the main streams that I would do because I didn't want to burn out my camera. Because, you know, at that point in time, like that one camera was like it for me. So it was the Canon 70D at the time. And like that camera was like my, you know, that I was using that to make all of my video content. And I couldn't afford for that camera to go down and then have to go out and, you know, spend a bunch of money to replace it. So that's why I went back to a Logitech C922 so that I could use something that was actually, you know, a web camera at that point in time to do it. But another thing that I did is it was actually the DSLR. And then after the DSLR, it was actually my phone for a while before I went with Logitech. And the reason it was my phone was because when I had, it was a little over 10,000 subscribers, but YouTube rolled out the live streaming from your mobile device feature. And at the time, it was only to people that had over 10,000 subscribers. So I had my first live stream, like my first official live stream that actually got me hooked on live streaming on my phone. And when that happened, I've been live streaming pretty much every Saturday or every week since that time. But I had a bunch of streams, so I was just doing it on my phone, and it was great. People, were still getting tons of value. There's still a lot of people in the streams because of the specific value that I was, offering, which is the same thing that I do every Saturday now. And then after a while, because I was standing up for that, I was like, hey, let me build something and get like a Logitech or something so I can actually sit down and, and have, a different type of conversation with people and make it look a little bit better than my phone looked at the time.
Awesome. And today, do you stream for your phone, or do you have some kind of phone? No.
I stream with this. Like, this is my thing. Like, I haven't streamed from my phone in quite some time. I'll make videos and stuff like, like a little short, like social media clips and things like that with my phone, stories, that kind of thing. But when it comes to live streaming, I don't personally use my phone for that, just because, I have, all the gear. So there's no real reason that I need to use that unless something weird happens, the internet goes out or, the power goes out or something like that where I would need to. But even in that situation, I'd be sitting there in the dark. So it wouldn't make much sense either in that situation.
Awesome. Great. So I see there was a whole side conversation about Zoom and StreamYard, really cool. And I think Karine says it nicely. Like, a lot of people are used to Zoom, and then they kind of transition over to StreamYard by kind of integrating the two, and eventually they just kind of stick with StreamYard. And I have to say that's what happened to me as well before I even joined the StreamYard team. So I can relate to that. Great. So I think it's time to choose our winner. Like, who would win a StreamYard mug? Do you want to do the honors, Nick, and just scroll through the comments?
How do we pick them? Do I just pick somebody random?
Yeah, pick somebody at random, or if there was any particular question, you absolutely actually, it wasn't quite. We had a separate hashtag for. Let's just give people a last chance to use the hashtag #LoveStreamYard.
Let's get this chat moving so that we can pull the winner out of here. So
we didn't have enough questions. So yeah, just last chance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, yeah. So
let's go.
There we go.
Ash. They were actually the first person that got it in there. So yeah, let's go with Paul Ash.
Paul Ash. So Paul Ash. If you're watching, you got. If you're still with us, then you get the mug. Just DM me afterwards, and I'll send it over to you. Next week, I'm going to try to set this up with a bot, so it'll all be like beautifully random. I just didn't have enough time to get it done for today. If anybody wants to check out Nick's channel, just go to nicknimmin.com. All of his stuff is there, and you can find him through there. Paul Ash, a lot of congratulations to Paul. And if you're interested in merch, check out the live show or our we've got hoodies, we've got a bunch of stuff. We've got a merch store that you can buy stuff, and you can also check out our town hall meeting this Sunday night. It's going to be our 100th town hall meeting, and we're going to have a little surprise there with some merch for those who join. It's a huge deal. We've got basically hundreds of people on that show. It's crazy. So it's really, really great. Here Tristan is doing the honors of sharing your nicknimmin.com right there. I think I might have it in the banners. Actually. Do I? No, I don't. I just have this StreamYard with Nick Nimmin. Okay, well, so that's today. Nick, any closing remarks?
Yeah, if you are somebody that is watching this and you haven't started live streaming yet, and you are like, hey, I'm not going to live stream until I get, the great camera. I'm not going to live stream until, the stars align perfectly in the universe, or maybe I'm going to start live streaming in January as my New Year's resolution. I encourage you to start now, to go ahead and just start live streaming, because, with all of this stuff, as soon as you get over that initial hump of, actually starting, and you start actually doing it and putting it into practice, it gives you the opportunity to, to fine tune things to where, by the time you would have started, you're going to be a lot better when you get to that point. So because of that, for the sake of practice, for the sake of experience, for figuring out the tech, figuring out, the flow of your show and all that stuff, instead of waiting for it, I just encourage you to start now and just go ahead and start streaming if you are considering it, because live streaming is awesome in terms of just being able to communicate directly with your community in real time and just being able to, talk to people, in real time and get that immediate feedback. There's nothing like live streaming, in my opinion. So if you're considering it, then definitely, push that fear aside and jump right in and start now.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate your time so much. This was super informative.
Yes, super excited to be here today, and there's going to be more content for me coming on the StreamYard channel as well. So definitely make sure that you guys keep an eye out for that stuff as well. Yeah,
check out our YouTube channel if you're not watching from there. Subscribe. There'll be a lot more content from contributors like Nick and Dee and others. So check it out, and we will see you next week right here, same place, same time. We'll see you then. Bye, everyone.